welcome to Serverless Office Hours. How's everybody doing? Did I startle you with my volume? Say hi.
Hey, everyone.
That was really loud. I know sometimes I always try to warn people, hey, it's when the video goes away, you're on screen, because a lot of times we have people like, am I on? Am I on? And so I always yell, and that startles people. So I apologize for that. Real quick, welcome to Serverless Office Hours. Hopefully this is not a new show for you. This is something we do every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Pacific time, and we have a great time talking about serverless. So this is a special. This is the very first week of pre-invent. This is that month before reInvent, where everybody you're seeing on screen and the few that we're going to rotate on later are going crazy and not sleeping. We're panically putting stuff together. We're building new features. We're writing decks. We're doing all kinds of things because it's crazy. We love reInvent. We like getting ready for reInvent, and reInvent is live this year. So real quick, I'm going to let everybody say hi real quick. I'm doing all the talking. Julie and I are going to be hosting this. So quick hi from everybody.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi,
Everybody.
Everybody.
So, Eric, I'm sure people are used to normally going on and going, oh, we're going to have an in-depth discussion about Event Bridge or API Gateway or Lambda or something, and we must have popped up on the screen. And as beautiful as we all are, well, I don't speak for myself, people must have been like, what's going on? So, right, hopefully we're not freaking you out. But it's going to be
cool. We were joking around earlier. This is the Brady Bunch of serverless. So, so we're all gathered around. So, Gidrius, do a high five. Can you do that? There it is. He's okay. Or wait, yeah, there we go. You got it. There it is. All right. So yeah, you can look down. I'm looking down at Daraj. So what we're going to do today is we're going to give some folks some time to talk about what they're talking about. These are everybody in front of you are speaking. Are y'all live? Everybody's live in reInvent. We'll all be there in person, right? All right. So they are speaking. So we're going to kind of go around and let them pitch their talk. We'll probably, we'll ask the hard questions. If you have questions, let us know, and we'll ask them here you. Or we'll ask
Eric, I'm just going to interject because it is live. reInvent is live in person in Vegas this year. I think it's the 28th to early December or that kind of thing. But don't turn off now thinking, I can't make it. There's no point listening to Julian and Eric and all these wonderful other people, because all the sessions are being either pre-recorded or recorded live and will be available streaming. I think it's the same week. I think it's an amazingly quick turnaround. So please don't be put off if you're not going to go there, because all the sessions we're talking about today will be streamed live after the fact. So don't feel as though you're left out if you're not going to Vegas and reInvent in person this year.
That's right. So we're going to start this with our very own DA, quintessential serverless DA, Talia Nassi. Talia, what are you talking about? Tell us a little bit about your session and what makes it better than all of ours.
Oh. Okay, so the first session I'm doing is a workshop. It's the serverless image processing workshop, and we're going to be going through the new visual workflow studio from Step Functions, and we're going to be building a step function state machine using the new visual workflow studio. So that's the first session I'm doing. It's a workshop. I believe there's 2 of those. And then, so you'll have 2 chances to go if you can't make one time. And then the second talk I'm doing is choosing between AWS Lambda data storage options. So I'll be going through the differences of like when to use EFS or S3 or DynamoDB or RDS, or like all of the different storage options that are used with Lambda, like the 6 most common ones. Those are my two talks, and I'm really excited. This is actually my first reInvent. I've never been to reInvent before.
Nice.
So very excited.
Well, just so you know,
somebody told me that you're that because it's your first reInvent that you're actually producing the decks for all of us. Did somebody tell you?
Yeah.
I think they were meant to be in last week.
Yeah.
You don't want me to do that, believe me.
I've seen your decks. They're good. So I'm
they are good. We're good. And they're funny. Let's see. We've had Cloudy with a chance of meatballs, right?
Chance of meatballs.
Yeah. So I will tell you that I have been sitting in one of Talia's sessions, and she uses my name in comparison, her code versus my code. I think her code's good, my code's bad, which is true. And but she calls my name out. It has startled me every time. So, and then of course this is Teddy. Teddy will not be at reInvent, but there we go. We see a lot of Teddys. So, Talia, any other? So you have the workshop and a session, right?
Yeah, I have. So the Chalk Talk and the workshop. Yeah.
Okay. All righty. And we're looking forward to seeing it. I know you have to go, so I'm going to rotate you out, but I really appreciate you joining us. So we'll see you later. And now we're going to kick you out and say things. So, all right. See you, Talia.
Bye.
But yeah, just while we're managing the amazingly what's it called, the green room or whatever they do in these fancy TV shows in the back in the back on the thing, we send Talia out and bring the effervescent James Bezic in. But yeah, just for people who watch as well, the different kind of things you can do at reInvent and attend in terms of sessions. We've got things called Couts, which are I mean, it's probably horrible to say, but it's a bad name for pandemic times, but somebody went with it. But a breakout is basically an hour-long session at reInvent where you are going to be hearing, either going to be beginner content at 200 level, 300 is intermediate, and 400 level contents like deep down in the weeds in a particular technology. Those are going to be an hour long. There are things called Chalk Talks, which are really interactive. It's a smaller session, and I don't think we actually use chalk, but there is a whiteboard with some drawing stuff, short presentation, and then also that's super interactive. So you get to ask your own questions. You get to actually participate in. It'd be great if people in Chalk Talks would also give their opinions and give their ideas to everybody who's attending. There are other. What else from the workshops? The workshops, as Talia just mentioned, the workshops. Seriously, before I even joined AWS, that was one of my favorite things to do at reInvent. 2/3 hours, I think it is. Really gets you hands-on with the tech. We've got some fun workshops. We've got some interesting workshops. We've got some deep dive workshops. So yeah, workshops is really, I wouldn't say it's only for people getting started with serverless. Even if you want to sort of stretch yourself and learn a bit more about events or security or event or other kind of things, definitely the workshops. It's a cool thing that you sort of, you obviously got to bring your laptop, but you sit there, you've got people who can help you, and you're literally writing your own code, following the instructions, doing all this kind of thing. And the cool thing is AWS people are there to help you if you get stuck. So workshops are definitely great. Am I missing anything else? I don't think we do builder sessions. I don't think we're having it this reInvent.
I think you got them. Yeah.
Cool. Got the 3. Well, there we go.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so we're gonna jump over to Veda. Ramen, am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Or are you just being nice? Sure,
Ramen.
Eric. Yeah, you got it. So yeah. Okay, so tell us about your session and why it's better than everybody else's here.
Hey, okay.
Look
Hey,
at
everybody.
that.
So I'm going to be doing, it's a Chalk Talk, machine learning, inferencing without managing machines, basically serverless ML. And why is it better? Because it's serverless ML. And I'm gonna be sharing some cool tips and tricks to make your inferencing workloads super fast. We did some performance testing in-house, and I'm gonna be sharing those numbers as well. Some architecture patterns on choosing the right storage, extending a little bit on what Talia is gonna be speaking. Choosing the right storage for your storing your machine learning models when doing with Lambda. And if you have like one model or just a few models, what's the best architecture you want to choose? And if you have like hundreds and thousands of models that you want to do inferencing with, then what are some of the considerations and what architectures are available for you to choose? So that's what I'm going to be talking about. So yeah, please join me for some really cool tips and tricks.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. This is super huge. Inferencing in Lambda, the advantage, right? You only pay for what you use, right? It's that serverless applied to ML, and it's interesting. And I don't have the exact numbers, but I know that a large percent of the cost for ML is that inferencing, a huge percent of it, right? And
Yep.
so by rolling that off to ephemeral compute, compute, I almost said storage, there it is. Ephemeral compute, you get, you get a huge boost in performance, obviously, and reduction in cost. I'm assuming, would that be right? James is nodding his head right along with. So if I have Veda and James, I feel pretty confident about that. So, okay. So do you know the number for? Oh, it's SVS 313.
313.
Machine learning. Yeah, and you and I are going to talk because I'm doing a talk just much like this next year. So I'm going to absolutely plagiarize. So we're clear. So and looking forward to hearing that. All right. Well, I know Veda, you also need to drop. So we're going to swap you out for Chris McPeak. So we're going to say goodbye. Bye, Veda. Thank you. And I'll bring in Chris. All right. Okay, there he is. All right. Gidrius, you are up next. Yeah. I'm gonna bring you to the big screen. Tell us what you're talking about, why it's better than everybody else's.
It's API patterns and architectures, then in how to use REST versus GraphQL APIs. So it's interactive, Chalk Talk at Caesar's Forums Thursday, right before Big Party. So best place to be before Big Party is my Chalk Talk. So we'll talk about both services, both REST and GraphQL APIs, reminders, refreshers, what they are about. If you don't know, okay, it's a place to learn. And then both API Gateway and AppSync AWS services. And then we put aside all the presentations, switch to whiteboard, and do cookout pretty much. Let's talk about your architectures. Yes, let's talk about your questions and figure out once and for all which one is better, or when to use which one, because answer is usually depends.
Awesome. All right. So give us a precursor when you're looking at which because we have several options for APIs on AWS, right? Yep. We have API Gateway. We have obviously AppSync. So what are some of the things that you think about when you're trying to decide what we be teaching them?
It really depends on plenty of plenty of factors that you usually keep in mind, and really data sources that you have, number of those data sources, variety of those data sources. Then what you can control and what you cannot control on the front end side. If you cannot control, let's say if your client application is forcing into one versus another, you don't have any options in that case, and then you just stick with what's required. Let's say if you are integrating with some legacy system that most likely talks REST but not GraphQL, okay, then we end that discussion right there. You are pretty much locked in. Now, if you have flexibility, if you have knowledge in-house how to use one versus another, if you have, especially when we start talking about real-time or near real-time data exchange, that's where there are plenty of options and plenty of considerations to keep in mind when you are deciding between two of them. And that's where we're going to go into this whiteboarding side and talk about how do you implement this? How do you do this in REST? How do you do that in GraphQL? And are they kind of interchangeable? And when you should use which one?
All right. Sounds awesome. And I agree with you. Just for the party, if you want to get amped up and ready for the party, nothing ramps you up like happy little APIs, right? Getting your APIs going. That's right. So very, very cool. Very excited. All right. So let's jump back here, see where we're at here. Are you ready? Daraj, I think you're up next. We're going to bring you up here. And Julian, did you want to add anything?
No, I'm good for now. Yeah, I gather my mic's jumping in and out a bit, so we'll try work this out. But yeah, I'm happy to. I'll stay in the background until I'm closing a few more windows.
Sounds good. James is working with us. James is muted because, as always, when James is getting ready to stream, his lawn care person is there running with leaf blowers, and I think they do it right outside your. Is it even your lawn care person?
It's a new product we're working on called AWS Leaf Blower.
Well played, sir. Point James. But yes, that always happens right there. But yeah, to call out what James is saying, man, you have there are multiple experts and Julian and I on this screen. So you ask your questions if you've got them, and we'll pose them. Stump the Chump, we'll pose it to them. And here's the fun thing about it: I don't claim to know all the answers, but I know the people who know the answers. And you're right now looking at the people. These are some of my go-tos when I have questions. So ask your questions, and we'll ask it. So, all right, Daraj, you ready?
Yep.
Let's do it. Daraj, tell us why your session is better than Julian's session and what you're going to be talking about.
That's a good question. My session I'm not competing with Julian or anybody here.
Okay.
I'm not focusing on serverless developers who build on serverless or Lambda. I'm focusing on organizations which maintain what to make available to serverless development teams. So the name of my builder session is building higher level constructs for your teams who are using serverless application using AWS CDK. CDK is the cloud development kit. So think about an organization, like mostly I work with global financial services customer, and what I've seen is they have central teams which organize or maintain the infrastructure. They're called cloud engineering teams, and they make sure they provide artifacts to development teams to build, and they have a confined space as to what are the standards, what are the organizational best practices that has to be implemented and packaged in a way so that teams can easily reuse that or replicate it across. So what AWS CDK provides to a cloud engineer or infrastructure engineer is to build out those reusable patterns in serverless. The builder session covers a particular use case in serverless where it uses reusable components and creates its own constructs, which is an artifact which can be shared across multiple teams. Now, the best part of that is it's not just specific to one language. Since CDK, if you have gone through it or if you have used it, it's an imperative style of building infrastructure as code, literally. You don't have to specify which language it has to be with the use of artifacts or with the use of libraries like JSII, which is built by us, AWS. A team can actually spit out artifacts in different polyglot libraries. So if you build an artifact using TypeScript, it can be spit out to different versions like Python, Java, or .NET, or C Sharp, etc. So that is very powerful. And I'll go in details in the builder session when you attend this session, and talks about what are the powers that a centralized infrastructure team can get by building on top of it, of this, like incorporating the standards. So December 1st on Wednesday, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. local time, which is Vegas time.
Nice. Now, had we have pre-screened these, I'm not sure I would have let a CDK go through if you didn't mention AWS SAM. I'm just throwing that out there. So yeah, I'm just giving you don't have to explain yourself. I'm just giving you a hard time. CDK and SAM worked great together, and both are good. I do a lot of jokes, but here's the bottom line. If you're not using a framework, man, use a framework. Be it AWS CDK, be it AWS SAM, be it any there's a couple other ones out there. I really encourage you, get behind a framework or you're wasting a lot of time. So, especially with the same accelerator that's just come out and the CDK hot swap, right? So some of the same ideas. So this idea of developing faster, that's one of the things that we're hearing a lot of folks talk about. Are you going to be talking about the hot swap at all and working with that?
I will not be touching on the hot swap because this actually focuses on the concepts of JSII as a whole. But interacting with the audience, I will definitely be touching on our CDK and SAM amalgamating and the previews which we have come up with.
Okay, nice. Thanks, Daraj. I really appreciate it.
Yep.
All right. And we're in a little bit, I'm going to need to swap you out because we're going to bring Alex in just a few minutes. So if that's okay. All righty. I'm going to drop you, Daraj. Thanks, Daraj. Appreciate it. And if you want to hang out, we can bring you back in a little bit too as people are swapping out. So, all right, Alex, I'm going to bring you in as well. But next, we're going to go, and Gidris, we already talked with you, Justin. We're going to bring up Justin Pirtle. Justin Pirtle, expert on all things, much like everybody else in here. So, Justin, tell us First of all, Justin made it funny in the private chat. Is AWS Elastic Lawn Care was the other one. I did like that one. That one made me chuckle. So, all right. So we're going to bring you up to large screen. Tell us, Justin, why your session should be the one everybody goes to.
Sure. Hey, everybody. Justin Pirtle. So for any of you who have bursty workloads, my session's all about architecting for hyperscale. So for those of you with your fire sales, your Black Fridays, your COVID applications, where you got lots of people coming in, this session's all about how to get to hundreds of thousands of requests per second, handling millions of users, right? And it draws from real-world applications that launched in the last year or two. So we're going to take the time to go through kind of 9 best practices and apply them to a real-world architecture, walking through how you can do anything from load testing to understanding all the nitty-gritty about Lambda concurrency and API gateway scaling, and apply those practices to your workloads, knowing exactly what to look for and how to know you're ready for that big launch coming up.
All right, hold on. If I'm running on serverless, serverless is already built to scale. Are you saying that I need to pay attention to some things?
Certainly built to scale, and we can handle hundreds of thousands of requests per second and millions of users we have in the last year. But you still need to load test. You still need to know how to architect things. You want to understand when and why to go async, how to optimize and where you want to optimize Lambda, and many more principles that you can apply along the way, rate limiting, etc. All
right. Yeah. I think this is a session you have done, or it's something like a session you've done before, and it's a fantastic session, if I'm not mistaken. This is a really good one for, like Justin just said, yes, serverless is built to scale and scale crazily good, but there's ways to make it even perform better, right? And there's and understanding how the different services work together, limitations, your limits, concurrency, different things like that. So, yeah, super excited. And this, I see the R1. If you're following along, the R1 means you're doing this twice, right?
I think I just have this once. It's Thursday afternoon. So like Gidris, we're the party before the party. So come to us, just before the party, Thursday afternoon, SBS 310.
Okay.
And there's just one session I'm aware of. What it will be on YouTube for anybody who's not able to join in person to watch later on.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that brings up a good point. And James, can you answer this? I know you answered in chat, but for those who maybe aren't reading the chat, we had a question from Alper earlier. Is this one? No. How you doing? I'm looking for the right one. Here it is. It's a reinvent Innovate Island. James, real quick, I know you're going to talk about more, but we'll actually throw you in, actually. I guess it's time since I highlighted it.
So Innovate Island this year is slightly different from the one that you may have seen online and the one that we did in reInvent 2019. So there's a couple of slight changes. So if you've done it before, come and do it again. We'll all be there to support you and get you through the workshop.
Yeah, cool. All righty. Yep. And then are you doing any other sessions, or is this the one you're running this a couple times, I know?
Well, I've got 2 things. So yeah, we've got Innovate Island, our 2-hour workshop where we show you how to build a real-time web application for a theme park that's about to open with thousands of guests. And so we have a few surprises there, and it's usually a lot of fun. And then my second session is actually about thinking serverlessly, and it's one of the favorite sessions that I give because it shows new people to serverless how you can take a business problem and go through, turn it into a serverless reality. And what we do is we take 3 or 4 separate types of common problems that you may find in an enterprise, and then we make them more complicated. Once we've built something, we keep adding more and more requirements, seeing what happens. And so it's a highly interactive session. We take loads of questions from the audiences, and you get to see me drawing on a digital chalkboard, which is usually exciting. It's barely legible, but I try and talk my way through it. But yeah, if you're brand new to serverless, and you're thinking about how you can use serverless to build architectures to solve problems, come and see this. It should help you get started.
Awesome.
All right. I love these sessions. I think just riffing off what James said and also what Justin said before, both of these kind of sessions I've got, even if you're starting off building serverless applications, and talking about all these cool kind of things like going up to massive kind of scale, but there's some small little things you can stick in from the very beginning, which is going to make your life so much easier. And even if it's things to understand where your future knobs and levers and changes you may need to do as you grow. So don't think of this as only advanced or only beginner. These are, a lot of these things, the power of service is it scales so crazily, so you can start small and you can get crazy big. And these are good tips to know from the beginning.
Yeah, and one of the things to point out about chalk talks is they're really different from regular sessions. So whereas regular sessions, you're sitting there and you listen and there are questions at the end, these are interactive. So it's a great way to come in and stump me with questions. We put up a problem and then we change it slightly depending on what the audience says and what questions we have. And so really, I think chalk talks, at least when I was a customer, I found chalk talks the most useful type of presentation because I could really interact with the presenter and get my questions answered.
You were that person who capitalized. Yeah.
Now
I have another question. I have 4 follow-ups. Yes, 4. Yeah. So no, but I agree. We get a lot, and I can speak for probably anybody on this channel, via Twitter, via email, via whatever social or whatever communication we use. We get a lot of customers saying, "I'm thinking about this architecture. Does it make sense?" Or we're trying to accomplish this. What's the right architecture? This is the place to ask that question. This and the builder sessions. So because they are very two-way, and because James will not be in yours with you unless he's teaching, you will have time to talk. So James doesn't always share the floor, but there it is. So all right, cool, James. Thank you very much. Like everybody on the screen. James is a phenomenal speaker. I love working with him, Julian, and the whole team. So, Hiki, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
All right. You think you're ready. Okay, you're not ready. Now you're ready. Hiki, it's all you. Tell us why we should come see you and why yours is better than James's.
So it can never be better than James's.
That's the right answer. That was safe. Yeah, that was a safe move.
So I'm doing 2 different sessions, but also I wanted to, for the record, clarify the pronunciation of my name because it's not quite phonetic, and if you just read it, you'll never get it. So just, if you remember back in the 90s, there was an awesome Will Smith song called Getting Jiggy With It. Well, you can get Higgy with it, and you'll be pronouncing my name correctly. So
wow. That is cool.
Yeah.
Like it.
So I'm doing a workshop and a chalk talk. The first one is the workshop. So this is going to be for our customers who love the notion of serverless, but don't have a ton of experience with it. So our goal here is to help you get some hands-on experience. In this workshop for getting started, we'll touch Lambda. We'll touch a little bit of DynamoDB. We'll even do some serverless web applications by using Amplify. And we'll also get into a little bit of SAM. So we'll touch all of these. But by all means, that session is really going to be meant to be interactive. My hope is you as customers will come and bring tons of questions, challenges you may have faced in trying to get started and wrapping up on serverless. So we look forward to that one. The second one will be a chalk talk. And like James was saying, this is really meant to be interactive. I've brought a couple of different scenarios to prepare, but I really look forward to diving deep with you as customers as you think about how to build data streaming architectures using Lambda as a consumer. So there are lots of different streaming architecture patterns out there, and we really want to dig into how can we build our streaming architectures using Lambda as the compute layer. And we have a number of different services that enable that streaming architecture. So you can use DynamoDB streams, you can use Kinesis data streams, you could use our managed streaming for Kafka service, and you can also use self-managed Kafka running on EC2 as well. So these are just different options, and we can, again, I'll talk through each of them briefly, but again, we really welcome kind of architecture questions or even challenges you've experienced in the field as you're looking to build these type of architectures.
Awesome. I heard Sam in there. That made me very happy. Yeah, that's good. We have, and to kind of segue real quick, it's out, Sam Accelerate, if you're not familiar with it. And how many of y'all, I'm just asking the screen here, let me bring everybody back up. And how many of y'all have tried Sam Accelerate yet or used it when you're developing these? So yeah, same here. Good. It's pretty cool, huh? I know you got to get your hand in the middle of the, because they're very narrow. So Sam was like, I do. Where it is. So yeah, it's really cool. Glad to hear that's going on. If you haven't checked it out, I encourage you. Very, Very cool. Yeah. This is very true. I am the head of Sam Mafia. We have jackets and squirrel uniforms. So there it is. So the girls, in fact, we had Halloween Sunday night. The girls were very disappointed. It was too cold in Colorado for me to just wear the squirrel suit. So I was
That's
just
what
a
you
dad
say.
for. Yeah, it's what I said. I did it the year before. So okay, so let's jump on.
What,
Yeah,
Eric? Just before we do, I just want to, because I've just pulled up some of the other session kind of things and getting Higgy with it. Oh, I'm going to remember
I
that. That
love
is so awesome. Awesome.
love that.
But yeah, that's a workshop. But Emily Shea has also got this great breakout session, which is getting started building your first serverless application. And this is real world as Emily learned and eloquently talks, I must say, about how to do it. And she's actually built a serverless app about learning Mandarin. And this is how she did it. And she's literally done this whole breakout session all about getting started and the kind of things that she didn't understand and was confusing, and sort of worked through this whole thing and how she pieced this all together. So Emily's one is also another partner who won a breakout session compared to the workshop.
Emily's session is better than all of ours. That's why she doesn't need to be here.
Yeah, she's the only reason I have my job is she said no. So, Emily's really good. Yeah, no, they're all good. So, all right, Uma, you're up. You ready?
Yeah. Yes.
All right, let's do it. We can hear you and taking you big. Now, Uma, let me ask you this. There's been a precedent or a standard set. What 80s music will define your show?
I don't know anything about his music.
Wrong
I know about
answer,
Indian
Uma.
music.
Yeah. All righty. Well, then, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, okay. So if you are wondering about how to break data silos, or these serverless pretty bunches know about AWS step functions. I don't know how many of you know about Amazon MWAA. There are a lot of commonalities between these two services as workflow orchestrators. So my session is a chalk talk. So it's a 60-minute interactive session like James mentioned or Higgy mentioned. You get to ask questions, share your use cases and experience with me. I will also share my experience, compare and contrast the features of both the services, and also offer guidance on choosing the best service for the use case. And I have a repeat session as well. So it's on December 1st, Wednesday, 3:15 Pacific time. And the repeat one is the very next day on Thursday, December 2nd, 1 p.m.
Awesome. All righty. So more about, talk about moving data around at high levels, right? A lot of stuff going on, like what Hiki was talking about. And we see a lot of customers that are working with this and it's great stuff. So you definitely want to catch him talking about this. No music, no song. You had some time to think about it. Nothing.
Yes. I'm going to ask for your advice.
That's good. So 80s. I'm much younger. I was not a child of the 80s, but.
Sorry, did I laugh out loud?
Maybe Julian.
Yeah, what was that?
No, I'm going to ask Julian there.
No, I graduated in 1988. I was right square in the middle of it, so I could probably sing all of Getting Jiggy with it, which is not a proud moment, but there it is. So, all right, let's take this back down here. Uma, thank you very much. Excited to see that. Uma, is this your first re-event?
Yes, this is my first re-event as AWS Amazon employee. Before that, I was a customer once.
Oh, okay. Are you ready?
Still preparing.
That's a trick question. Yeah, it's like you're. Yeah, so yeah.
Never ready. No, still preparing. Hopefully before December 1st, 3:15.
Yes, you will. You will. There's a point where you just come and you just do it. You drop the knowledge and you know it. So, all right. Okay, so now we're going to move on to and Alex, I'm going to say this, and you're going to tell me I'm right or wrong. Vladimirov?
Yes.
Yes! Or are you just being nice? Tell the truth.
No, it's correct.
Okay. Yes. I practiced all your names. Gidrius, I only did your first name. Okay. You'll have to help me on the rest, but
that's more than enough.
Okay, good. And
it takes years of training.
Am I even saying Gidrius right?
Yeah, it's close.
Okay. I only know that because I heard Julian say it. So, Julian, thank you very much. I can't do it with the cool accent, but
I'll help you.
So, yeah, they're always helping me. Yeah, I don't do life without a Julian. So, all right. So I'm gonna bring you up, Alex. So tell us what you're talking about and why it's better.
Hi, everyone. Yes, I'm going to be leading a workshop related to event-driven architectures. Event-driven architectures are getting really, really popular across our customers, and we're getting a lot of questions. Almost every customer interaction involves some kind of asynchronous processing, especially using Lambda and related services. So this workshop is about that. We're going to talk about what event-driven architectures are, what kind of services we recommend to use to build such solutions, and we will do hands-on lab. During the lab, you will be able to learn how to use Event Bridge, simple notification service, Lambda, related services, and how to build those solutions, how they will look like. We will talk about different patterns that you can use to implement such workflows. And definitely, I strongly recommend to participate because hands-on experience is always better than just hear about particular service or particular features. Seats are limited, and I recommend to register in advance. It will be on Tuesday from 2 p.m. to 4:15 p.m. at
Awesome.
Caesars.
All right. That's awesome. So if you were to, and I'm putting you on the spot, and you can tell me, nah, I don't want to do this. Define event-driven architecture. And I don't want to steal your thunder. You're like, Eric, you're giving up my show. But how would you define it?
For me, I define it as like the way how to make your solution scalable and resilient. Because I've seen so many solutions where customers trying to build everything synchronously, and a lot of like API-driven microservices. It's a good approach. It's not bad. It's way better than monolithic apps, but it's hard to scale, hard to deal with errors, retries, problems. It's way more efficient to like convert part of your solution to asynchronous processing. Like order processing is just one of the best use cases where customers can submit new order and then you will process those orders with your own pace. During such events like Black Friday, that's going to happen soon, you may get a lot of orders. Scaling your synchronous system to process all of them, it's not an easy task to do and easy to fail. But if you convert it to asynchronous processing, your system will be able to process all those orders. You will not lose any information and your customers will get what they want. That's why it's very important to understand event-driven architectures, and that's why my session, I expect, will be very popular across our customers.
I agree.
Perfect.
I agree.
Yeah.
I love it.
I mean, I like to say as well that if you think serverless is a dumb word because there are still servers in serverless, and why do you name something when it isn't something? It's like even like a NoSQL. People are like, DBAs are like, well, if there's NoSQL, what is it? What is it? Tell me what it is, not what it isn't. But yeah, if serverless as a term freaks you out, then event-driven architectures is literally what it's all about. And literally when Lambda was announced, not necessarily we're just talking about Lambda, serverless wasn't even mentioned. Werner actually talked about this is the future of building event-driven applications. So that's right. Alexander's going to be on the money.
Yeah, I completely agree. Serverless, it's one of the best use cases for event-driven architecture because if there are no events to process, you don't pay for it. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's when we talk about some of our best practices, and we can list a bunch of them. Maybe we'll go around and do that in a minute. But so that's the heads up. Everybody think of a best practice. I think one of them is always opt for asynchronous over synchronous if possible. It gives you a lot of wiggle room to handle errors, to handle throttling, to handle things like that. So it takes a lot of pressure off your system. The last thing a client wants to see is the spinning wheel forever, loading. They'd much rather see we got your request, we'll get right back to you. So
I want to see you wiggle though, Eric. What's your wiggle?
Well, remember, if I dance, then we've not done a great job. So, but yeah, I can dance. Child of the '80s, right here. So, we did get a song. Uma, she's still here. You can't see her. Uma, we did get a voted song for you, and that was "Eye of the Tiger." So, I would like to, So, just so you know, "Eye of the Tiger" is Uma's '80s song. Alexander, do you have a song here or?
Yeah, probably like maybe Elvis, like Last Conversation. Nice. It used to be for one of our previous.
There you go. You're reaching way back there. Nice. I like it. All right. So next up, I think we only have several. Chris, you want to go next? Okay, because you are. If you just said no, you'd still be next. But I felt it was right to ask you. But Chris, you're next. So I'm going to bring you up here. Chris. Well, first of all, do you have an 80s song? You look like you might know an 80s song or two.
I know a few 80s songs. It's a little tough to like narrow it down, but I'll say that the two bands that I sort of define with maybe are Bryan Adams and Def Leppard.
Oh, nice. Okay. I took my son, who's now 20, to Def Leppard and Journey concert.
Nice.
That was phenomenal. Yeah, it wasn't obviously 30 years ago, but yeah, it was great. So, all right, that's no point. I owe everybody 7 seconds of their life back. But yeah,
Well,
Chris,
that's
I
great
turned
because
it.
my 17-year-old is really getting into Journey these days too.
There
So,
it is.
fun
There
stuff.
it is. They're
All
awesome.
right.
All right.
So we'll be doing a securing serverless workshop, which is going to be really exciting. This will be on Wednesday, December 1st from 12:15 to 2:30 in Caesars Forum. Now, Eric, you probably know this, but there are some developers floating around that have this little side hustle where they built a unicorn delivery service called Wild Rides. It's been around for a few years.
Yes.
Well, in our workshop, those little side hustle developers are actually going to be launching a very insecure customization app for unicorns. And so everybody that'll be joining the workshop is going to have a chance to take a look at that insecure app and help us secure it during the time of the workshop. So there'll be 5 key domains that you'll be working on: identity and access management, securing your code, data and encryption, infrastructure, and then logging and monitoring. So they'll be focused on those 5 areas, helping us secure that customization app.
I love that idea. So you're going to build. Okay, we're broadcasting this, right? All you hackers, listen up. You're going to build an insecure app and then have folks help you secure it.
That's right.
I love
That's
that.
right.
I love that. That's going to be really cool. I do that every day. So but there's that. So that's really awesome. All right, is this a repeat or is it one time?
So this will be a one-time shot on Wednesday afternoon.
Okay. All righty.
Yep.
So depending, and you're going to go as fast as you can to get it secured.
Yeah, I tell you, there's a lot of different ways that you can secure your apps. We're not going to have a chance in the short time of a workshop to get through all of it. But it will be a little bit of a choose your own adventure. So if you have particular domains that you really want to focus on within that time period, you can actually dive in and choose those specific domains to work on.
I love it. Okay, so let me ask you this: if you were sitting in the audience, what's your go-to? What's always step number 1 for securing an app for you?
Yeah, so for me, it's the first step is really that identity and access management, right? You want to make sure that the people that are getting access to your application are the people you expect to be getting access to your application. And so doing things like, doing authorization and API gateway, tying into Cognito, even custom authorizations using Lambdas, making sure that front door to your APIs is protected and secure is really key.
All right, very cool. Now, will you be using AWS SAM or AWS CDK to build this? Your answer tells me how long you'll be on the show. Go ahead.
So we are actually using SAM. So if you're in the workshop, you'll be doing some SAM deploys as you're fixing things.
Nice.
It'll be a lot of fun.
But you could use CDK too. I'm not against CDK. I just, I have old 80s bias. So there you go. So awesome.
I'm partial to SAM too, partly because we've got a SAM on the team here, but but I tend to lean more heavily on the SAM side myself.
Right. That's right. We do have a SAM. It's funny when everybody says, we're all in the Slack channel. Someone asks Sam. I always think of the squirrel. I never think of Sam Dingler, Sam Dingler is probably one of the smartest people alive. And I still think of the squirrel. I'm sorry, Sam. I apologize for that. So, okay. All right. Very cool. All right. Well, so who do we have left? I think we have Sam. Sam left. Has everybody else gone?
You haven't gone, Eric.
Okay. What's that?
You haven't gone, Eric.
I haven't gone. You're right. Yeah, that's right. I forgot. I'm not speaking at reInvent. No, just kidding. I am. Let me bring Sam up to the forefront. This is not the squirrel, although I'm really tempted to go put on my costume now. But whatever. So, Sam, I turn it over to you. Tell us about why your session is the top session to see.
So I had 2 sessions this year. My first session, I think, fits my favorite 80s song, which might be Islands in the Stream. It's a duet with a guy named Robbie Kohler from Taco Bell. And our session's called Building Next-Gen Applications with Event-Driven Architectures. And the first half, you're going to hear from me on lots of integration patterns and concepts around event-driven architectures. and things to watch out for, things like item potency and deduplication. And then I'm going to turn over to Robbie, and he's going to tell you how Taco Bell was to put all these concepts and best practices into place in just 2 weeks to build a POC to do mobile delivery orders for all of Taco Bell restaurants. And something they were able to do in 2 weeks, the business didn't expect them to deliver for multiple months. So you'll get to hear, from our customers directly on how they can take these sort of concepts that I'll be laying out and actually put them in practice and build things quickly using serverless and event-driven architectures.
All right. How many of you thought Robbie Cole sang Islands in the Stream? I ran that all together. I was like, what? No. But Islands in the Stream, that does tell me a lot about you, Sam. So that's very cool. Very cool. So what's your second session? Oh, no, I'm sorry. You actually covered both there.
The second session is it's a Chalk Talk. It's called Rapid Application Development using AWS Step Functions Workflows. And so this will be a Chalk Talk format. There'll be 2 sessions, 2 repeats of this one. And it'll be very interactive. We're going to dive into some of the integration patterns inside of Step Functions. And we'll look at things like the new AWS SDK integrations that allow you to integrate over 9,000 AWS APIs directly with Step Functions, and use things like the Workflow Studio to visually build your workflows and show you how you can become like a 10x productivity developer and builder on AWS using Step Functions and all these integrations to build things faster that you might typically have thought of doing in code before.
I have to say, this Step Functions has knocked it out of the park with this. With number 1, this Workflow Studio. Number 2, the SDK integrations. What was your, when you first saw that, what was your first take?
The Workflow Studio is, it's one of the best UIs I've ever worked with. Inside AWS, outside of AWS, I just think that the team did a fantastic job. Yeah. It just works so well, and I love using it when I talk with customers. Honestly, we sort of interactively in customer conversations will sketch out almost like as an interactive whiteboarding session on the things that they're trying to build by pulling in the different AWS services, and sort of throughout a conversation at the end of it, we've sort of POC'd their idea in real time. So it's a great tool. It's a lot of fun to use. You can get results really fast out of it. And now with the AWS SDK integrations, you can really pull together almost all of the AWS SDKs directly into your workflow and build applications really quickly. It's really fun.
Yeah, Justin Callison and I did an episode here on Serverless Office Hours several weeks ago. If you're watching and you're curious about this, go check it out. He shows the Workflow Studio. He shows how, as you pull in SDK or API calls, it sets kind of the bare minimum of what you need to make it work, but you can also add more. And man, you can prototype so fast with that. So super cool. Looking forward to it, Sam. I do like the Islands of the Stream. That was good. All right. So I guess I am last. So I'll go ahead and pull up mine. And Julian, do you have my little banners? I think I put them in the
I do.
banner. Yeah.
All right. Do have yours.
Julian is on top of it. So, and then we've got a couple of things that we're going to give you a heads up on. Excuse me. So sorry. Okay, so the first session I'll be doing, I get to talk with George Mao. George Mao he used to work here at AWS. He was one of our principal SAs for serverless. He is now at Capital One, and Capital One uses AWS SAM. I'm just going to shock y'all, so if you're not sitting down, but I'm going to be talking about SAM at reInvent. Everybody okay? All right, so a little shock there. So George Mao and I are going to get in. George is going to be talking about how Cap One uses it in everyday life, not just Eric Johnson's proof of concepts on screen, but how they're using it in a daily basis to quickly develop. I will also be talking. We'll spend a lot of this session I just accidentally kicked my dog. I apologize. So now I'm sorry, buddy. And so we're going to be talking about SAM Accelerate. If you haven't heard of SAM Accelerate is a group of features that help you develop faster, from auto syncing to the cloud to broken or to incremental builds to aggregated logs. A lot of stuff going on to help you, and it's kind of a theme, and Sam kind of touched on it, is this idea of developing faster with Workflow Studio and SDK. How fast can I get to market with my stuff? How fast can I, how much time am I sitting waiting for stuff to build? Very little with SAM Accelerate. So we're going to talk a lot about that. The next session we're going to do, yes, there's a question. SAM Accelerator is still in beta. It'll be in beta for a little while, so we're we're looking to hear back from you on how we can make it better. So use it and tell us. So definitely want to know about that. So the next session I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be talking about S3 to Lambda patterns. What are good ways? And this is the first one was a breakout. This is going to be a chalk talk. And the chalk talk, again, I'm going to spend about 15 minutes talking through some concepts so we understand it, and then I'm going to dive in. We're going to chalk it. I'm going to go over to the board, and I'm going to draw. And I guarantee you, mine will not look as good as anybody else's in this room. I'm not a good drawer, but I'm going to do it. And we're going to get into those diagrams and architectures and answer your questions. Just kind of see the flexible patterns. At the core of serverless apps, right? So just like it says here on screen. And then the last one I'm going to be talking about is something that a lot of folks work through are the CI/CD workflows, right? And so we've done a lot of work around CI/CD with SAM pipelines. If you haven't checked out SAM pipelines, I encourage you to check it out. It's coming out, it's been out for a while. It is in beta, and it allows you to create pipelines, create the permissions, create everything, and not just with our code suite. It works great with code deploy, code build, those things, but it also works with GitLab and GitHub Actions, and I encourage and Jenkins as well. So I encourage you to check it out. We're going to talk about why you want a CI/CD, how you do testing in a CI/CD, and then how we can help you set up those pipelines with SAM pipelines. All right. So I'm going to turn it over to James for a minute. James, Julian's going. Go, Julian.
Well, I never want to step on James's toes because that's just
dangerous.
He's got big toes too, I've heard. But I was just like, I think Eric is doing this to get me not to talk about my session, and then he can say that he's got the best session. So
I'm sorry, Julian. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Oh, I'm never going to hear the end of that. Julian, you're going to be at reInvent? I'm just kidding.
No.
Yes, he is. And so is Ben. Ben, who's not here today, but they'll both be here. Julian, with all my heart and a little bit of James's, I apologize.
No worries at all. So I've actually got 2 sessions at reInvent this year. One is a chalk talk, so we've all talked about how that's going to be interactive. I'm hoping I'm just going to be able to sit there and not have to talk about a whole bunch of things, and people in the audience are going to give me all the great ideas, and we can chalk some stuff out, but it's all going to be about implementing and understanding observability, even the other way around. Maybe we'll understand it first before we implement it. But literally anything about observability. So we're going to talk about metrics, and we're going to talk about logs, and we're going to talk about the human factors of observability and events and anything you can think of to do with observability. But it's up to you. We can draw stuff up on the whiteboard and put it all together. And then the other big one I'm doing, which is all about best practices of advanced serverless developers. And you think, that's going to be easy. And then I did a Twitter poll, which is as dumb as anything, of getting suggestions from serverless heroes. And Eric's helping me on this talk because he's been he's reviewing my deck, and I got to over 167 slides with best practices of advanced serverless developers. And Eric said I could only do 3, so 3 slides, 160. We're going to meet somewhere in the middle. But my problem with this talk is I've actually got so much information to give out, which is with pleasure. It's a 400 level talk, so it's going to be thick and fast. But as many best practices of advanced serverless developers, but for all developers, that I can fit into 60 minutes for your listening pleasure. So it's going to be everything. It's not just going to be Lambda. I'm also broadening the remit this year. Previous years, it's talked a lot about Lambda. I'm going to try and bring in a lot of other stuff. So it's going to be fun if I get my slide numbers down.
Yeah. So we will eat in the middle between 167 and 3. You have 5 now. So
cool.
that'll be fine. Yeah. So what he's going to do is he's going to cut those 5 slides into little teeny squares and put his 167 bits of information.
There we go.
I know, Julian, you'll need a microscope to see Julian's deck, but there it is. So Julian, again, I'm sorry, I forgot. There's no excuse. So, but I do want to bring James up. James, you have something going on that's kind of cool. And actually, it's the DA team, but James has been the ringleader in this. And so, James, tell us, is this a tease? Is this an outright tell? What are you going to do?
Yeah, well, I'm still a bit shocked that AWS Sam was actually Sam Dengler all along. So that's my big takeaway.
There's no proof of that yet.
Makes a lot of sense. So this year, so we've got this thing called the Dev Lounge at reInvent, where there's lots of interesting projects and sessions going on, in addition to everything else that's happening at reInvent. And we've been lucky enough to be given a cool little area to combine some of my favorite things. So we've actually built a live project that is combines coffee, EventBridge, step functions, and some other stuff. So it's going to be something you can interact with and see, and you've got to ask any of us how it works when you're there. So a little bit of a teaser, but it's a really exciting thing we've been working on for the last couple of months.
Going to be good. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, this has been really cool. James did a great job. So I will tell you that next week, so this is day one or week one of pre-invent. We're in November, and that means what's coming. Some people say Thanksgiving, some people say Christmas. Most of us say reInvent, right? And that starts at the end of this month. Next week, we have a brand new feature that we're going to release that what it does is, I can't tell you, but we're going to be talking about it. And then the next week, we have another pre-invent feature, huge one coming out. And it's going to, I can't tell you. You'll have to join us and see about that. But we do have several things coming up, pre-invent things that are coming that, and you'll notice in the little spiel, and this has said, something's coming. So keep an eye out for that. Any preview of what? No, I don't have a preview of what the virtual attendees will see at this time. But I know we're putting together so you can attend it virtually and get all the information as well. So
yeah, one thing I also want to mention is that,
please.
Funny enough, with AWS has been known to release one or two things at reInvent. So that does mean that magically on the session catalog, there's some new sessions that magically pop out at reInvent. So also keep your eyes peeled. Even during reInvent, some magical sessions may appear, and we'll obviously socialize that as much as possible on Serverless Office Hours, which will also be during reInvent.
Right.
So yeah, this isn't the end of it. Even all these sessions, and I even have another 9 sessions of people who couldn't be here. They didn't pitch up, so they don't get their sessions on the screen. But yeah, there's even more. This is only a taster.
That's right. Yeah, as Julian alluded to, we're going to be doing Serverless Office Hours during the week of reInvent. It'll just be on YouTube because Twitch will be covering a lot of release things like that. So we'll be covering the serverless world on these. It'll be on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Actually, Monday as well. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 11 o'clock to 12 Pacific time. So keep an eye out for that. And as always, now one thing I will tell you, most of the people here, their sessions are full. And you're like, well, why did you tell us about them if they're full? Well, a lot of times get on the wait list, get on things like that. Because a couple things, a lot of times we add more sessions. We look at demand and they add more sessions. So everybody sign up for EDJ Geek stuff. So, and maybe some others, but whatever you want to do. And Sam, of course. And then you sign that, and then so they will do some they'll add some more sessions and some repeats, but also the recorded version so you can see what's going on. I encourage you, some super smart people in this room, and some that couldn't make it. They'll be talking about some really critical things for serverless. I want to say thank you, Sam, Gidrius, Julian, James, Uma, Daraj, Alex, Hiki, Chris. Who did I miss? Justin and Talia. I think I got everybody. And I got Daraj. So thank you so much. Again, I know you have a lot to do. So I appreciate you taking the time out of this and joining us. I did get a note from all your bosses that said, get back to work. So there it is. There's the message. And with that, does anybody have anything they want to throw out before we say goodbye?
See you in a month.
Yeah, look forward to seeing everybody.
We'll see you. And I'm a hugger, so if you don't want to hug, just no hugs, Eric. I am a hugger, so there you go. But yeah, see you in a week virtually. See you in a month live. So with that, we are out. Thank you so much. Thanks to all our guests, and we'll see you next week.